All right, we're here with Coach Steve Brown, here for the morning show. Coach, we know, of course, the news the last couple of weeks that you're stepping away after 3 seasons at the Pirates helm at the head coaching spot for the Pirates football team.
Yes, sir.
19-16 record, 2 playoff wins. What comes to mind when you think of your tenure as the head coach of the Pirates football team?
Well, one of the things that I'm most proud of, obviously, is the fact that all 3 years we did make it to the playoffs, which is something, from what I understand, has never happened here at Grants High before. We'd go, we'd miss, we'd go, we'd miss, maybe go 2 years in a row and miss. But so to go all 3 years, pretty proud of that.
So when you think about what does retirement look like for you?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I've been around the program for so long that when the fall comes around, it's going to be weird. It's like I was telling you earlier, I'm sure there's going to be some tears shed, but that comes with it, When you've been working with kids as long as I have, I feel like that's a calling, and to just walk away from it is tough. I'm going to miss the guys. I'm going to miss the girls. I'm trying not to get emotional about it, but it is what it is, and after the 20 years, I just feel like it might be time to let somebody else take the program in another direction, or maybe keep it going the same direction, but something,
Sure.
The thought process behind it was not only that, many people know I've had a lot of issues with my knees. So I'm getting ready to have double knee surgery coming up. So I'll have one done, then the other one done when that one heals, but that's going to take it clear into the football season. And I just don't feel that it's fair to the kids or the coaches or the community or the school to not be available and still want to be the head coach.
You had go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
So your announcement came out a couple of weeks ago, but how long had you been discerning this decision, thinking about it? When did this first start crossing your mind?
Well, I always told myself that when the day came that I feel even just a little bit that the passion is starting to fade a little bit, then that would have to be the time, And so, first season as the head coach, man, you're all gung-ho. Second season, gung-ho. Even the third season, I was excited for the morning workouts and the two-a-days and the Baca camps and all this stuff. But now in the off season of this year, thinking about it and just not having that same drive or passion to where I'm looking forward to it, Yes, I know once I got there, it would be fine because then I'd get into it. But just the slight little bit of hesitation about the morning workouts and about the two-a-days and how many kids are we going to have out? How many kids are not going to come out? That's always a struggle for us here at Grants is the numbers. And numbers are always really low in the off season, which makes it hard for us to compete in the fall, So, putting everything together, that and with the knee surgeries, it's just like, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time,
Yeah. So what were those conversations like with family, people that knew beforehand before you had gone public with the decision?
Well, to be honest, Dom, I talked to my wife about it, and her answer was always, I'll believe it when I see it, because she knows how much I love it. She knows how much I enjoy it, how happy it makes me. And she didn't even know until I announced it. So it's just one of those things that I had to come to peace with before I could let anybody else know. Mm-hmm. And so when I finally made the decision that it was time, I caught Reyes up here in the hallway and I said, "You got a minute?" And I told him, and it even caught him off guard, And so nobody knew until I knew, Mm-hmm. So I hadn't even told my coaches. I talked to my wife about it. She kind of knew what I was thinking, but again, she wouldn't believe it until she saw it. And when I told her, and she saw the posting on Facebook, she was like, "What?"
It's real.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I just, it's tough. A lot of support from the community, a lot of support from the parents. Man, just a ton of support on Facebook from a lot of people. Couldn't be more grateful for all that. Because you never know when you're the head coach, you never know if you're the right guy, you know. Am I the right guy to keep taking this program in the direction that I want to see it go? Because unfortunately, our success, our happiness depends on teenagers, you know, and the commitment that they either make or don't make. Coaches can commit to everything under the sun, but if we don't get constant buy-in from the kids, and I know it's tough for them too, because they have lives. They have family lives, they have other sports, they're dealing with school, so it's tough. But, you know, for my mood to depend on a 15 and 16-year-old kid, sometimes it's tough, you know. But I love them. I love them, and that's why we do it, you know. So yeah, nobody knew about it until I did. So,
what are you going to miss most about being the head coach of the Grants Pirate football team?
About being the head coach? Well, I think just finally getting to see a program that I get to put my thumbprint on. And the success or failures, let me rephrase that. The success always falls on the kids. I was taught that by several coaches that I worked with over the years. And the failures always fall on the head coach, which I totally get. Did we not have him prepared enough? Could we have done more? Should we have watched an hour more film? Should we have worked on this drill a little bit longer? You know, those are things that they drive you nuts, but those are things I'm going to miss too. You know, because it's a chess match. You're playing a chess match against another grown man, but you're using a bunch of 15 and 16-year-old kids to play the game, right?
Yeah.
And to me, that is just so fun, you know. But more than that, I'm going to miss the mentoring of the kids, teaching of the kids, watching them mature from the time they're pups until they become seniors. You know, and I'll use this last senior class as an example. When we took over the program, they were all freshmen or finished their freshman year, coming in as sophomores. And they were all doe-eyed, big eyes, you know, and scrawny little kids, and just watching them grow and hit the weights. And then they start having dreams about playing in college, and seeing them realize those dreams. It's just awesome, you know. I wasn't going to do this, Dom, but here I am.
And you got 4 of your players that are playing at the next level. That has to feel pretty awesome, knowing that you had a step in that journey for them.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to following them. You know, we've had a pretty good run of collegiate opportunities over the last 3 years. And even before that, back when Coach Thompson was still the head coach, we had, 7 or 8 kids go play at the next level. So I was happy to be able to keep that tradition going. And I sure as heck hope it stays going, you know, because we have talent here. We have kids that should get opportunities. But it's all based on the coaches. The coaches have to push these kids. They have to promote these kids. They have to sell these kids. And if we don't do it, who's going to do it, you know? And so that's one thing I'll definitely miss, because I love working with college coaches, telling them about our guys, you know, and then them getting interested in our guys and them calling back, hey, man, what about this guy? This guy looks really good on film, coach. What can you tell me? You know, and so I'll miss a lot of that kind of stuff, but more than anything is just working with the kids every day. That's what I'll miss most.
When you think of your 3 years as head coach of the football team, what are some of your favorite memories?
The first game against Taos, the first season, we went down there and we won the game with 2 or 3 seconds left on the clock. They were going for the game-winning touchdown, and we stopped them on like the 2-yard line. But before that, we scored. We tied the game, or we were down by 1, and I went for 2. And everybody thought I was crazy. Just kick it. Let's tie it and go into overtime. We went for 2 and we got 2, you know. And so that's a huge memory for me. And of course, beating St. Pius our first year will always be a big memory. Anytime we can beat St. Pius is always a good memory. Just a lot of stuff like that. Of course, beating Silver City in the playoffs 2 years in a row, that's always great. And just making the playoffs and seeing these kids' faces when we had the selection shows, and just, wow, we're in the playoffs, and they didn't know what it felt like. And so by the time they got to be seniors, I told them, even though we lost to St. Pius in the second round this year, because of the playoffs, they got to play 5 extra games in their high school career. That, a million kids across the country they don't get to see that. They play their 10 games and they're done. Our guys got to play 5 extra games, half a season. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty proud of that. Good memories.
So onward the rest of the year. I know there's a big search going on for the next head coach, whoever is hired as the next coach of the Pirates football team. What's your advice for the next person?
I just hope that they're doing it for the right reasons and not just something to put on a resume. Because I'll be honest, I never wanted to be the head coach. That was never on my radar. I just like being part of the program. But when the opportunity came up and I was called by then the principal, Mr. Widener, to see if I'd work with the kids over the summer until they hired a head coach, I said, sure, I'll get them in the weight room and do what we can with them. It was me and Coach Hawker. And then you get in there and those dang kids, man, they grab hold of you. Coach, are you going to apply? You got to put in for the job, Coach. They get your heart, And so I said, well, I might as well give it a shot. Mm-hmm. So I went home and I talked to the wife, because being the head coach requires a lot more time. It's more demanding than an assistant coach, because I did an assistant coach for 17 years. The time that the head coach has to put in and the stuff that the head coach deals with is way different, way more time consuming. So I had to make sure that Anna was okay with it before I did it, because I told her, I was gone a lot before. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be gone even more with this. And so that's also weighed a lot into it too. I want to spend time with her, spend time with my sons, spend time with my mom and dad. And so that had a lot to do with my decision as well.
And I guess as we close this out, is there anything you'd like to share? Maybe we haven't touched on in this interview that you would like mentioned.
Just the gratitude I have for obviously the kids, all my assistant coaches that I worked with, the administrators, Stevie and Reyes, and especially Reyes, man. Reyes has had my back from day one, never led me astray. Anytime I had to have a hard conversation, they were upfront about it, but they always told me that they supported me in whatever decision I made. Because as the head coach, you got to make some tough decisions that can go one way or the other. And sometimes it's detrimental to the team, but it has to be done, because, we're trying to teach these kids, obviously, right from wrong, and teach them that nobody is bigger than the team, not even the head coach. And so when those kind of decisions had to be made, I'd sit with Reyes and we'd talk about it. And their words were, whatever decision you make, Coach, we support you. And so I really appreciate that, because you can't do this job without support from your administrators. You can't do this job without the support of the parents, the community, and the fellow staff at the high school. So teachers, fellow colleagues that you see every day, and those interactions in the hallways. Coach, man, that was a great game on Friday night, man. I'm so proud of you guys. And, that kind of stuff I'm going to miss. But it's like I was telling you, I was answering some questions for Bianca. And in one of them, I told her that the door to coaching is never really closed. You may step away for a little while, but you see it in all levels, college, the pros. Coaches always come back. And I think it's because it's in our DNA. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. And so maybe, down the road, if my knees are good and I get the itch and there's an opportunity, maybe I can come back in. I'll never completely shut that door, because, like I said, I truly feel it's a calling. And you don't ever want to shut a calling off, Mm-hmm. My son is a priest, that, and he taught me that when he was in the 4th grade. So about a calling, what it means. Mm-hmm. And so, but yeah, I just want to thank everybody for all the support that they gave me over these last 3 years. And just know that I'm not gone. I'm always going to be here. I'll be at the games. If the kids need help with anything, I'm there for them in any capacity. So And even if the new head coach comes in and says, hey, coach, can you help us out with this? I'll be more than happy to do that. So as long as I can be part of the program in some way, shape, or form, I would love to do that.
So we haven't seen the last of Coach Steve Brown.
No, I hope not. I sure hope not. So, but yeah, that's about it.